right, welcome everyone to the Tuesday, April 25th special meeting of the Police and Fire Commission. And we'll start with roll call. Vice President Boyle Roloff.
Here.
Commissioner Cobb.
Present.
And Commissioner Dorff, we're expecting him. He indicated that he would be here a little late, so we will note when he arrives. And Commissioner Laux is excused, so we do have a quorum. You received the agenda in the mail from Haley. There are no changes. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Cobb. Second by
Second.
Commissioner Boyle Roloff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. First item on the agenda. May is usually when terms of commissioners start, and so any commissioners that are reappointed or new commissioners will usually come in May. We don't have any commissioners whose terms expire during this time, but we also re-elect officers every 2 years, president and vice president of the commission. If you all feel okay with my performance over the past, I would be more than happy to continue as president.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion. Are there any, I'll take that movement as a nomination. So we have
Yes.
nomination. Any other nominations?
Is this the time to make a nomination for Marion to come back as the,
We'll do that again as after this. We'll do president and vice president separately. Any other nominations? Going once, going twice, 3 times. All right, we did 3. All those in favor of me continuing as president, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye?
Any opposed? All right, and vice president.
I'd like to nominate Marion Boyle Roloff to continue on in that role as vice president of the Green Bay Police and Fire Commission.
Are you okay continuing in that role, Marion?
Sure.
Okay. Any other nominations? Going once. Any other nominations? Going twice. Any other nominations? Going 3 times. All right, completed that. So all those in favor of Marion continuing as vice president, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations. Next item, firefighter hiring process. You received that in the pre-work information. So Chief, does this differ at all from what we've previously been doing, other than just formalizing that we use Chippewa Valley as well as
I think
Fox
that's
Valley
the
Tech?
biggest change, is just formalizing that process, so. Yep.
So this just more or less casts a wider net of potential applicants.
Correct. In the Chippewa Valley, our last check of that had about 16 qualified applicants on
Okay.
it, so that would really bring a pool up for us pretty nicely,
All right.
so.
Because we've struggled in police for quite a while. In
Correct.
fire, this last time, I think, was the first time we didn't have many more acceptable candidates than we
Well,
had.
so we had a large hire too, so
Yeah,
that didn't
yeah,
help anything,
yeah.
but the idea is that, we're potentially able to get a pretty good core group. We would move to hire probably about 7 people.
Okay.
And like I said, that this would maybe establish an eligibility list moving forward too, for a potential spring hire too, so. Like I said, I think it's a good movement, I think it's a good plan. Again, this helps us with our recruiting efforts as we move forward, because there is an end goal. Because a lot of times what we saw before was just, we're gonna hire, but everybody else was aware of our hiring practices too, and so they would move to hire a few months before us, which left us with, missing a lot of real qualified candidates. So I think it's a good step moving forward.
Very good. Any other questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the process.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Boyle Roloff. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cobb. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the proposal for the fire department hiring process, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the second, to consider as possible action on the police detective promotional process.
So this was negotiated in the process of renewing the Green Bay Professional Police Officers Association contract. One of the things that the union had a strong interest in was making detective a separate rank that would now be subject to PFC approval of promotions into that rank. Previously, it was a special assignment with sort of a premium pay attached to it only for specialist 1 and 2s. For anybody who wasn't a specialist class, there wasn't premium pay for it. So the change that comes out of the new contract is that it is its own rank
Okay.
with its own promotional process rather than a special assignment selection process, and everyone in that detective rank gets the premium pay on top of their job class as officer, advanced officer, specialist, or whatever. The selection process or the promotional process for this mirrors what we also negotiated for the sergeants, which is a written exam with a minimum score of 70% required to pass, and then continue from there to an interview with a minimum score of 70% and a peer review. That one, the peer review does not have a minimum score and it's weighted. Their cumulative score that positions them on the eligibility list will be determined by weighting their interview score at 80% and their peer review score at 20%, with seniority points added on top of that. We do currently have vacancies, and so we do anticipate pending PFC approval beginning this process fairly soon. This is similar to what the process was to just be to get a specialty assignment as a detective in the past. It would just be a promotional process, and then this is part of a larger effort to standardize the elements of promotional processes and also processes for specialty assignments. So to get a specialty assignment on the SWAT team or the dive team or one of those detached sort of special units, those all have the same selection process now, with exceptions for the ones like the SWAT team, the dive team, and the canine unit that would require a physical agility test of some kind that's related to the actual job. So this is part of that larger effort to standardize the way we do all these things so people know what to expect.
Okay. So everything in this document was bargained, was part of the bargaining, the
Yes.
percentage and everything. So I think technically that supersedes us, so we don't have to approve this. We just have to approve the selection process, the actual selection once someone goes through this process. So I think I would entertain, well, first, are there any more questions?
How often does the points that are, the extra points that are assigned to someone for seniority come down to being the difference between someone?
That's a really good question.
So you're talking about seniority points?
Mhm.
So the seniority points were based on every 3 years of service.
Okay.
It can make a difference, that in the last few years, we've gone through a big change where we had 100% seniority with the department. And so selection process for detectives was 100% by seniority. If you're the most senior person in the department, you became a detective if you wanted it. It has helped over the last few years where there have been some candidates who have been good long-term employees, but maybe not have had the access to additional trainings or education pre-employment for the Green Bay Police Department. So their continued years of service were honored, and it helped show the employees that, okay, maybe you came out of school with an associate's degree here, and these programs were not available to you as a student prior employment, but your years of service will help. And so over the past few years, it did help, and the seniority points did play in a role where certain people did rank higher, but I do not believe it was more of an occasion where we had a senior person get it and a junior person not get the position based on seniority points. It may have helped them, though, in the ranking overall, if that answers your question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to receive this and place on file.
Motion to receive.
Motion by Commissioner Cobb,
Second.
second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And then will you be asking for PFC involvement in the panel, like we've done in the past? or-
We certainly can,
Okay.
yes. We will do that.
Okay. I think that's useful for the PFC members, because it's pretty interesting going to see that and be part of the process. So if you have the opportunity, I encourage, if you haven't been part of one of those processes, if the timing works out for you, to do that.
And then just one other question with respect to that. Does anyone in the department ever go and talk to younger officers about potentially pursuing things? There are some individuals in life who envision themselves in higher places, and there are other individuals who need encouragement, right? Like I think about myself now, I have a vision for myself in higher places, but I think about myself at 20, and it took somebody coming and wrapping their arm around me and saying, Rashad, this is for you. And without that, I would have already made the assumption that those opportunities for promotion or other things were for other people. And so I wonder, are there individuals in the department who go and wrap their arms around younger officers to say, have you ever thought about this? Also thinking the same thing for female officers as well. If there's someone within the department who has those conversations with, and again, not to necessarily force a person to apply, but to just have that conversation around, like, this is something that may be an opportunity for you, and I don't know if you've seen it in yourself, but we have observed you having the potential to, somewhere down the road, be in one of those roles.
Yeah, we do. It happens it's ad hoc, it's not, a formal program or anything like that, but yes, those conversations do happen, and, just in some of the last rounds of promotions, I think we're starting to see the benefit, frankly, of some of those conversations.
Next item, consideration with possible action on the voluntary removal of patrol officer candidates from the eligibility list. We have two that requested removal because of taking jobs, Martinez and Merkel. Did I pronounce that right?
Sounds
Okay. Those two. The information on both of those was in your packet. So if there are no questions about those, I'll entertain a motion to accept those removal of those candidates from our process.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff, seconded by Commissioner Cobb. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll withdraw those.
Do we have any concerns about the timing of our process being the reason that any of these individuals left?
You're saying timing of,
How long it took?
Like, yeah, was our process too long? Were we concerned that we lost any of these
No.
two officers?
With these ones, we got them pretty early. As far as when they applied, I just think that the opportunities for a different department came up while we're just starting their background work. Yeah, and then I know another one was already, while we're doing his process, UWGB had come to do the background as well. So that's possibly he might have taken that position. Because I usually do reach out afterwards. If I get a withdrawal, I'm saying, okay, anything we can do better, or like, was there anything timing wise? And they usually say, no, it's just this other opportunity came across.
That's awesome to know that you make those calls, the follow-up calls.
Chief Knott, the rest of the agenda is all police, so
Thank
unless
you.
you're interested in changing careers.
Nice to see you.
we're hired, we're hired.
If you guys are interested in fire, we're looking for some people.
Everybody's hiring.
Well, thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
I'm too afraid of heights and fire.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Seem
right. See you,
like-
nice to see you as we move there.
Deal breakers.
Yeah, that's our kind of key things.
All right, the next two agenda items are both closed session items, so I'll go through, I'll read both closed session scripts. You'll do one vote to go into closed session, and then when you're in open session, I'll report, I'll give two separate reports coming out of that. So the first item is consideration with possible action on the review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to sections 19.5, paragraph 2 Wisconsin statutes to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. And item 6, interview with patrol officer candidates. Please take note that pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F Wisconsin statutes, the commission may convene in closed session for the purpose of interviewing, evaluating, and considering employment of patrol officer candidates. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to go in closed session.
Motion by Commissioner Cobb,
Second.
second,
Hey.
second by Commissioner Dorf. And let the record show Commissioner Dorf has arrived. All those in favor?
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're in closed session.
Recording stopped.
All right, we are back in open session. And agenda item 5, review of backgrounds. We reviewed 5 backgrounds of candidates. We chose to eliminate 3 in the hiring process and to continue 2 others in the hiring process. And agenda item 6, interviews with patrol officer candidates. We interviewed 1 candidate and chose to continue them in the hiring process. I'll ask for a motion to confirm that report.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner
And I'll
Wolf,
second that.
seconded by Commissioner Dorn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, passed. Next meeting, since the police department is involved in more hiring or more backgrounds, we will not have our May meeting at the regularly scheduled time, and instead we'll do a special meeting when it fits within the hiring process for the department.
Sounds good.
Jen, I'll be gone May 16th through the 20th.
Okay. Thank you.
With that completes our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
16th through 19th. Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Moved by Commissioner Cobb, seconded by Commissioner Boyle Roloff. Marion, good second? All right.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, guys.